Okay, guys, we are going to move on now to
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Ooh.
Double D's, sexy numbers. Dan, take it away. What do you got for us?
Okay, so
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Dude.
From Life
okay, here we
Report.
go. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. We can't have one day without technical difficulties. So hold on, I got a sound effect. Okay, so my question for this week is, can the lowest three factions catch up to the 5 leaders? So are they on life support or can they catch up? And I like having that little heart effect. So the current standings are the Dungeon's at 45 points, Finstock Exchange is at 36, Corruption and Quirky Mercs are tied at 31 points, the Den is at 27, the Usual Suspects are at 20, Swag is at 12, and the Stars are currently at 11. So for the most part, we're going to be talking about the Usual Suspects, Swag, and the Stars. So upcoming non-tournament matches, we have Collision coming up, Andrew DeMolanta and Laura Kelly. That's a potential 7 points for Swag. Saul and Amaru there's a potential 4 points for Usual Suspects, and the Stars do not have any matches at Collision. Now, official future matches as of right now, we have Ethan Irwin has just won his number one contender match, so he's going to face Dan Murrell sometime in the future, and that's a potential 7 points for the Usual Suspects. Paul Yama has his free-for-all title shot, and that's another 7 points to Swag. And interestingly enough, I just found this out from the Shmominati late last night. This is confirmed. Chandru has his title IG match with Mike on July 16th. So that's a potential 7 points for Swag. Now, we also have tournaments right around the season, and this is the breakdown as of last night. IG, Star Wars, and teams are going to be an 8-person or team tournament. So that's 1 person and 1 team from each faction. Singles is going to be a 32-person tournament. That's 4 people from each faction. Now, this is how the breakdown of the points for each of the tournaments are going to happen. With the 8-person tournaments, not counting TKOs and KOs, 2 factions will get 3 points. 1 faction will get 6 points, and the winner of the tournament will get 10 points. Now, with the singles tournament, not factoring TKOs and KOs, 8 people will win 3 points. 4 people will win, and notice I'm saying people, not factions. That's very important. 4 people are going to win 6 points. 2 people are going to win 9 points. 1 person is going to win 12 points, and the winner of that singles tournament is going to gain at least 16 points, if not more. Now, Deegan, before I go on, who do you think is going to win some of these matches? I know I kind of spoiled this one, but who do you think are going to win the tournaments and the matches? Just your first quick thoughts.
Sure. I mean, it's still so far away, so it's kind of hard to make predictions this early. But I think that the Usual Suspects might actually. I think the Usual Suspects and the Den are the two to look at right now to potentially get the most out of some of these title shots. With the Den having Saul, who I think is probably favored, and Thomas Harper later on down the line. And yeah, ASG makes a good point that you're leaving out the title defenses if they win the title matches, where it's you get an 8 points over 7 points. So I think both of those factions have a good chance to catch up. But I mean, a lot is going to hinge also on the dungeon losing matches, whereas maybe Dan losing the title, or those kind of situations. So I think that it's not over yet, and I think a big thing was not having Bateman win yesterday. Was huge to the whole overall picture of the faction standings, because it gives some of these other factions a chance to catch up to the dungeon. So In terms of the specific matches, I think it's a little too early to maybe predict
Okay.
like who's going to go and win a tournament. But
We have to move on, Dagan. So
Yeah.
we have to move on.
that's
but
all.
yes,
That's all I kind of had to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So ASG, I have not forgotten it because I have factored in, but we're going to make some assumptions here. And this is just me guessing what might happen. I'm not saying that this will happen. It's just what might happen. So during the tournaments. So let's say the Stars win the Star Wars tournament with Alex Damon. Let's say they win the singles tournament with either Jeff Snyder or Janine the Machine, and they get second place in the IG tournament with Alex Damon. We're just making assumptions here. With Swag, let's say Chandra defeats Mike. They get second place in the Star Wars tournament somehow. They get second place in the singles tournament. Laura Kelly defeats Demolanta at Collision. I know I have Demolanta, but let's just say he does. And whatever Oyama chooses, whatever title match he chooses, let's say he wins. For the usual suspects, let's say they win the teams tournament with Ethan Irwin and Liz Shannon Miller. Let's say they get third place in the singles tournament. Amon Moses wins his match at Collision, but he doesn't get the belt. So basically, Chandru defends the belt a second time this year, and Ethan Irwin defeats Dan Murrell in the future. Let's just make these assumptions. And also, the dungeon bombs completely, and they get 3 points per person per tournament. So that's important. That's roughly 21 points right there. So when you factor all those assumptions, here's the results. The dungeon at the end of the tournaments will get 66 points, more or less. The usual suspects will get 50 points. Swag will get 59 points, and the Stars will get 43 points at the end. So, Diggin, do you think this is enough to actually is this enough of a difference to actually get to the championship, or do you think that this is too low?
I think it might be a little low considering the dungeon has been so strong this season, and it's tough to really say that they are going to bomb that hard in those tournament settings. I think the Stars, unfortunately, at this point are pretty much out of it. So I think definitely low estimate for them. But yeah, I see some of these other factions potentially catching up to the dungeon, but a lot does have to hinge on them sort of bombing.
Okay, we're giving everybody the best chance possible. I forgot to mention that. We're giving everybody the best chance possible. That's what. But here's the thing: I have a curveball. Spectacular points are worth 10 points, 11 points. Yeah. So here's when you factor in for spectacular points. Usual suspects. Let's say Ethan Irwin and Liz Shannon Miller get the team's title belt. That's 10 points. For Swag, Chandra defends the title belt a second time in a row. The Stars, Alex Damon gets his title belt. That's 10 points. Janine or Jeff gets the singles belt. And the dungeon wins no more matches. Here's the final results. Basically lowballing it. Dungeon, 66 points. Suspects, 60 points. Swag, 70 points. The Stars, 63 points. So basically what I'll end this with is that no, none of these factions are out, because even though we've counted for tournaments and the Spectacular and Collision, there's still going to be more matches that are non-tournament matches. So this is giving everyone the best chance possible, but there is a chance, and they can pull this around. And we are luckily enough to be graced by the Roxy Stryer with her voice. So, Roxy, what do you think about these numbers?
You had the sexiest numbers by far.
All right. I'm happy to hear your voice, Roxy. Thank you so much.
You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.